start up with a kind of a nightmare in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I wonder, is that something that is that a nightmare that you had lately, or you've been away for a couple of years? Is that always kind of a fun thing about it, about your...
Nah, I mean, it wasn't even like, I think what made me make a song like that more than anything was the beat. When I heard it, when I got the beat from Dre, I remember taking it in the next room and just kind of zoning out, and it just felt like, I mean, the beat was so dark, it just made me, I don't know, the first words came to mind, the horror corridor thing, and I don't know, I just blacked out and just wrote it.
Yeah.
And it felt, you know, the beat felt dark to me, so.
Yeah. But what about the album title then, Relapse? Is it something that you fear, that you've been down in a dark valley in a way and now you're back, or how is it?
I mean, yeah, you could look at it like that. I mean, the way that I look at it more than anything is, I guess a kind of a double entendre, you know, like relapsing in the literal sense, which I've done, and relapsing back to what first, I guess, made me famous. You know, the first two records, like the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP. I kind of wanted to take it back to those days, and you know.
Was it kind of a new start for you? You felt that you have to look back a bit to find that feeling again, or how was it for you?
Well, definitely it was a new start. You know, I feel like I almost feel like I'm reintroducing myself to the world. You know, like you know, this is. I mean, I got a second win. It's kind of what I feel like right now. You know, refreshed.
How self-assured were you that you still had it, if you understand what I mean, when you started working on the album? Did you know that I'm going to do this, it's going to be fine, or did you have your doubts?
Yeah, I definitely had my doubts. I mean, I went through 3 or 4 years of having my doubts. Like if I, you know, there was a point in time where I didn't know if I had it at all anymore. I had a pretty bad case of writer's block, and I would try to put my thoughts down on paper, and it just wasn't the same. You know, nothing I did was like, felt like, you know, the earlier magic that I used to have. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was kind of gone. And by getting sober and, you know, my mind clearing up, you know, and just me being able to think again and function normally again, everything just kind of felt like it was coming back, you know.
Was it so? I can understand it's hard to describe in a short interview like this, but can you try to describe how it was to get to this circle of down-spiring, down to hell, where you can't get up and you just need to get the pills and the drugs?
Yeah, well, let me try to make a long story short, I guess. When I came out of rehab in 2005, I wasn't really ready to get clean. Like, I kind of knew it in the back of my mind. You know, everyone else it felt like everyone was ready for me to, but I wasn't. So, you know, relapsed and started taking Vicodin, started with the Vicodin again, and then started with the Valium again, and then the Valium wasn't strong enough. You know, first I would start with, I would go from Vicodin, and then I'm having trouble sleeping at night, so let me take some NyQuil. And then the next day or 2 days, NyQuil's not strong enough, so I need to go to the doctors. I need another prescription. I need Valium. You know, now I got to call my dope dealer. You know what I mean? Like, so started, you know, I would start back with the NyQuil was a big trigger, and then Valium, and then the Valium wasn't strong enough, so now I need Ambien, and now I need this, you know, to sleep every single night. I can't go to sleep without it. And then your tolerance gets higher and higher the more you do, and then you lose your best friend, and everything from that point on is just like, fuck it. You know, you just, it kind of was an excuse in my head for me to use more, to take more, because this just happened, so it's okay to take this much. And then your tolerance gets so high that, you know, you end up overdosing, you know what I mean? And then everything from that moment, it just, you know, you gotta make a decision, like, what do you want to do with your life, you know? I mean, I relapsed twice. I relapsed once when I came home from rehab, and then was, you know, spiraled, and then relapsed after my overdose. I relapsed again, you know, and just came to the point in my head where I was just like, I can't keep doing this. It's gonna happen again if I don't. You know what I mean? So basically made the decision like I wanna stop now. You know?
Okay. Yeah, it's just up to you yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understand. I'm thinking, not a question here, but I'm thinking of like a colleague of yours, Dave Gahan, from Depeche Mode. It seems that you're a rock star, you're a pop star, you have all people around you, surround you, but you seem to be very lonely. Is that the feeling that you had since you had your big breakthrough 10 years ago, that you in a way are lonely?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily feel like that. As far as like being lonely or whatever, you know, I've got my kids, I've got my friends, I've got enough friends in my circle that, you know, I'm happy in that aspect. So I mean, you know, I guess you could say feeling lonely in the sense of I don't really, not really trying to make a bunch of new friends. You know what I mean? It's really hard to do that, and hard to trust new people. But you know, I've kept the same friends that I've had since pretty much childhood, so I'm happy in that sense. You know.
That's great. I understand that Dr. Dre is, of course, very important for you. Now, how do you work together? And how was it different this time when you started again with this new album?
Well, the way we work together is pretty much, it's the same as it kind of always was. You know, we get in the studio, he starts making beats, and he'll, let's say he comes to Detroit to work on my record. He'll come with some beats that he's already made and give me a CD, and I'll take it in the next room and start writing, and meanwhile he's in the next room making tracks, and then I'll finish with that batch of, you know, that CD of 20-some beats or whatever may be on there, 12 beats, it doesn't matter. And then I'll kind of, like, if I feel like I'm done with that CD, I'll go in and get another one. You know, it's kind of like a factory, and he just keeps kicking them out, and I just, you know, like a kid in a candy store, because I just get my pick of, like, everything.
So when you get going, you're really going? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But you had a problem there where it just stopped for you, or when you couldn't do anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the whole time that, you know, I was using, it was, you know, it was a damper on my mood. It was making me depressed. You know, the depression was making me want to take more pills. You know, it was kind of, I mean, you know, everything with the proof thing happening was just, was bad, you know, and it got into this vicious cycle of, I'm depressed, so I need more pills. You know, and now I'm taking more pills, and now I'm more depressed than I was. You know what I mean? Everything I was taking was sedatives. It was all downers, and it just, I mean, it made my mood, like it was making my brain think slow. I couldn't, every song I was making was slow, and just the way I was, everything about me was slow at that point in time.
Now when you did this album, the new one, it's a great one, really. Yeah. Did you look back, and in that case, if you look back on Slim Shady and all that album you did, Marshall Mathers, how would you say that you have matured over these 10 years?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've certainly matured as far as, like, I feel like in my personal life I've matured about some things, but musically I may have immatured, you know. By listening to this record, I've kind of went back to, you know, the first two records, like I was saying. Like,
and how does that feel to be?
Feels great.
Yeah.
Feels fucking great, buddy.
Because I sat, you know, I listened to my son was really, he's a big fan, he's 12 years old, and he really loves this album, he really thinks it's kind of back to the roots in a way, so
yeah,
it's a way to get further, of course, to look back. It's a good kind of medicine to go that way.
Yeah.
Good method.
Yeah, it was relapsing.
Relapsing,
yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I understand that you had a tough background, but that has also, of course, fed you lyrically, isn't it? And musically.
Yeah, I mean, my childhood certainly wasn't the greatest, you know, but I always, I guess, took that and the learning experiences from my childhood and life lessons and kind of was able to apply them through my music. I mean, my music has always been an outlet for me. You know, it's pretty therapeutic. So, like, whatever I'm I'm fortunate enough to be an artist who, when I'm going through something, I'm able to put it down on paper, or when I've been through something, I'm able to write about it and, you know what I mean, express it that way, and then I get it out and I feel
Is it
better.
kind of therapy for you?
Oh
or-
yeah, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been.
Because I remember I talked to other, since we're in England here now, if we're talking about working class guys, you know, they say either you be a football star, sports star, or you try to be a rock star to get out of that kind of bleak working class environment. Was that so for you as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't have an education, you know. I failed ninth grade 3 times, dropped out of school. I was a short order cook. I mean, I worked a lot of different jobs, cooking and factory jobs and things like that. And I saw rap as an opportunity, as my way out, you know.
You knew you had the gift very early on to rap? Or?
Well, I don't know about early on. I mean, I was kind of, like when I was a kid, I think I wanted to be a comic book artist and draw, you know. But as I got a little bit older, I think I wrote my first rap at 13 or 14 years old, and around 16-ish, I got like really serious with it. And then, you know, the more I practiced, the better at it I got. And it just, in my early 20s, I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do, you know, and there's no other option for me.
Now, it's interesting, your relation to media. Of course, I understand that this is not the best thing you want to do, to meet media and to be a part of that. But at the same time, you comment on that in your lyrics. Is it kind of ambivalence there in between that? Or what's your relation to media and to press?
I mean, my relation to media is, I guess I will give them whatever they give me. You know what I mean? Like, on one hand, I don't necessarily love to sit down and talk about the music and talk about, like, defend things that I've said before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to feel backed into a corner, like, why did you say this? How come you didn't think about these people when you said this? You know, you should have thought. Do you feel socially responsible? Do you feel, you know, you need to clean up lyrics for this, or, you know, for the kids, or anything like that? I mean, you know, so I don't like doing that part. You know what I mean? Like, I wish, I don't mind doing it, but it's like, it's certainly not, you know, the best part about making music. I think that the best part is actually making music.
But are you surprised that I feel a lot of interest in you and your background, or you know yourself that you're an interesting person, or are you just a guy?
I don't think I'm that fucking interesting.
You don't think?
It's really not a big deal. It's really not that big of a deal.
Well, if I listen to the lyrics and see how popular you are, and I can see my kids at home and me myself pushing 50, I think you're very good, and
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I
Thank
listen a lot to glam rock and hard rock, but I think you're one of the best, you know. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But it's interesting, and I saw since I'm also a film reviewer, when I saw 8 Mile, you were really great in that one as well. Have you thought about more acting as well?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it.
Or your videos are very good as well. I mean, you have.
Yeah, that
kind
part
of
is fun about the music too. You know what I mean? Making the videos and all that stuff, that part is fun too. But yeah, as far as movies, I've definitely thought about making other movies. You know, I haven't had a script that I've come across yet that has been like, that's got my attention enough to make me want to step away from the music and actually do the film. But you know, I'm certainly open for you know, new ideas or whatever.
We just have one more question, hopefully. I did write about it, but I must ask you, what about your new president in the States? How do you feel about that with Obama?
Oh, our new president.
Yeah.
I thought you said precedent.
The president, Obama.
Oh, Obama's great.
Yeah.
Love Obama. I voted for Obama.
Yeah.
Obama is definitely, you know, he's giving people hope. You know, I'm not to sound too political or whatever, but I mean, I certainly.
You haven't engaged yourself in this election at all, or you just felt that he was right without support him officially, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, I certainly voted for him. You know what I mean, but.
Yeah. I interviewed John Fogerty, the legend from Creedence Clearwater, who is kind of a left-wing guy, who said that I'm not sure that we Americans are worthy of this good guy that he is. How would you describe him, Obama?
He seems like he's a great fucking guy. He's certainly got a great head on his shoulders. He speaks the way he speaks with authority. He speaks with confidence. Like you could just feel, he's got an aura about him that's just incredible. It was kind of like when he first started running. Like I never followed an election so much in my life. There's a lot of people who never really did. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people could say the same thing. But I never actually, me personally, never actually followed an election as close as this one and wanted somebody to win more than anybody. You know what I mean? It was just like, man, this guy is great. And, he's given us a sense of hope,
Yeah. It's historical for
Oh, yeah.
black presidents. Fantastic.
Definitely.
Yeah. So glad to see you.
Cool.
Thank you. Very nice.
Thanks, man.
Can I have some sign? Is it okay? Do you want to sign
Yeah.
some stuff before?